Strange abandoned houses. Haunted abandoned mansion. Prominent Gothic Revival architect and built between 1861 and 1866 for Henry Robertson Sandbach, whose family had bought the estate in 1830. The new house was built to replace a much older hall which had been built in 1674. The site had been occupied since at least 1530, but the remains of both previous houses are untraceable. The Sandbach family sold Hifoninos in the early 1930s. The building has had different uses since, from being a private girls' school to an old people's home. The nursing home shut down in 1993 as it failed to meet quality standards. In 2004 the largest part of the house was destroyed by a devastating fire, and following that, the whole site was left abandoned. In 2010 the property was bought for £390,000 and the new owners announced their desire to restore the house and use it as a residence. The Ruins. An abandoned mansion in the Philippines. The Ruins, as the locals call it, is an abandoned mansion located in Talisay City in the Negros Occidental province of the Philippines. The mansion was the ancestral home of Sugar Baron Don Mariano Ledesma Lacson, built in the 1900s in memory of his wife Maria Braga, a Portuguese he met in Macau. In its time, it was the largest residential structure in the area. During the World War II the building was set alight by U.S. forces in a bid to prevent the Japanese using it as their headquarters. The fire burned for 3 days and when it was put out only the mansion was reduced to ruins. Starting in 2008, the beautifully preserved mansion opened to the public and is now visited by locals and tourists at any time of the day. The Haunted House of Beijing. The beautiful three-story French Baroque-style house at Canai No. 81 is a well-known anomaly of Beijing. Small courtyard properties in this area of China's capital city sell for millions of dollars, and yet this once lavish mansion lies in a state of decay. The reason no one will go near it: fear of ghosts and death. Local legend has it this amazing mansion was built by the Qing imperial family as a church for British residents of Beijing. In 1949, when the Communists had just defeated the Nationalists and were making their way into the city, the high-ranking Kuomintang official living in the house at the time abandoned his wife, leaving her to face the Communists all by herself. Devastated, she allegedly hung herself from the rafters of their impressive home. Many believe her troubled spirit has been haunting the place ever since, and few dare venture inside by themselves, especially during the night. The once luxurious mansion is now a dilapidated shadow of its former self, covered with graffiti warning daredevils to stay away and full of empty alcohol bottles and cigarette butts. Despite its location in the center of Beijing, where prices for small properties are in the millions, there are currently no plans to do anything with this particular building. Ghost stories keep potential tenants away, and the building is now on a historic preservation list so it can't be torn down, just renovated. So everyone seems to be waiting for it crumble on its own. Haunted Mansions of Brush Park, Detroit. Conceived in the 1850s by entrepreneur Edmund Brush, the eponymous neighborhood comprised 24 city blocks totaling around 300 Victorian, Second Empire and Romanesque homes, many of them opulent mansions. But Brush Park's decline came during the early 20th century, when cars and trolleys made it possible for wealthy residents to live away from the inner city, and was exacerbated by the Great Depression, which saw larger homes subdivided into flats. The post-war decades brought abandonment on a massive scale, Though conservation efforts and the classification of Brush Park as a historic district helped preserve some structures. By 2001, just 154 of the original 300 houses remained, the above photograph illustrating the extent of the clearances of abandoned houses that were considered too dangerous or derelict to save. Mansion Taichung, Taiwan. Reportedly the former home of a Chinese poet with the surname Chen, the mansion was originally built circa 1930. Locals report ghost sights and of hearing strange haunting noises on a regular basis. The building is predominantly built in the Baroque style, which would have signified in Japanese colonial Taiwan a move towards Western culture. The layout of the mansion's exterior main building, or hall, with wings on either side of the courtyard was traditionally designed, with a view to optimizing the feng shui of the building.